So Taylor and I both grew up in small towns. Nebraska softball is a small world, so we knew exactly who each other were. It's very normal to only have one softball pitcher on the team. You're not on a staff of a bunch of pitchers. So I think that our rivalry lasted into the first couple years of college.
I believe it was her sophomore year. She kind of struggled just a little bit. She came back with a vengeance her junior and her senior year.
I realized after her and I started the team and we started having some success that her challenging me only made the team better, and so I just started dishing it right back. I don't think there's a stat or a record that Taylor hasn't broken. She's obviously an incredible player.
I mean, that kid wanted to win. I mean, every time she stepped on the mound, she had the mindset that she was going to win. What makes Taylor Mohler a Hall of Famer is a lot of things, not only on the field, but off the field as well.
She gives everything to everything she does, whether that's, being a player, a fierce competitor, being a teammate. She's the first person you could call if you needed help or to be there for you.
She worked her tail off. She wanted to be here. She was a great teammate.
She's a wonderful sister, a daughter, a wife, a mother, an employee, a doctor. She gives everything she has to everything she does and all of the people around her.
The next 3 years, we won the conference tournament. And that honestly is an attribute to Taylor Mohler and that recruiting class we brought in that really kind of set the standard for what we are today, 16 years later.
She was just very competitive. She pulled the best out of her teammates and wasn't afraid to call people out to do it.
I mean, that group, their leadership, the way they came to play ball, they were just ballers.
Taylor had a very confident and intimidating presence, and so I think for batters to go up against her, she was out for blood. I mean, she was easily averaging 12 strikeouts a game, which is not easy to do in a 7-inning softball game. We were down at Central Methodist. It was the opening rounds of nationals. So I knew when she was pitching, I could just fully relax in the dugout, and that's exactly what I was doing. And I remember Coach said, "We're gonna make a pitching change."
So I turned to Coach Kelly and said, "Oh, this is not probably gonna go well."
And I kind of did a look around, like, to me, we're gonna take Taylor out and put me in. I can just tell already that she's foaming at the mouth, that we're calling a timeout. It very well could be the last game that she's ever gonna pitch in. Hopefully not, but it's the season's on the line.
So I walk out to the mound and said, "Taylor, I'm gonna go ahead and make a pitching change. We're gonna bring in Kelly Fisher." And I can tell already red like smoke's coming out of her ears. So here comes little gingly Kelly Fisher.
Kind of bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, with a big smile on my face, ready to give her a big hug and say, thank you for everything. And she slams the ball into my hand.
And I'm pretty sure Fisher was shaking in her cleats. And Taylor Mohler goes, slams the ball in her gloves and says, "You better this up."
I was sweating profusely. I remember I kept grabbing dirt and rubbing it on my hands because I was so nervous. So I was like, I need to make eye contact with someone that's gonna give me some comfort. So I was scanning kind of the audience or the crowd, looking for my parents, and I look over to the dugout and Taylor is standing between Coach and Coach Kelly.
Just breathing down our necks over us, just screaming at the top of her lungs at Kelly Fisher. And I'm saying to Coach Kelly, like, should I be scared? Yes, I am scared.
Taylor was a star, so she would go out there and have like 12 strikeouts, give up 1 hit, and she would always come over and just slam the ball in my hand and say, "Beat that." I have to thank her. She leveled up my play. Always wanted to beat her. I don't think I ever did on the strikeouts.
And which leads me to the next story of Taylor Mohler, just how competitive she is. We've been doing team challenges.
A couple days worth of different activities were split into 2 teams. I was on Taylor's team. We were winning the entire day. And I think to make it more interesting, they said, okay, the last thing, the tug of war, is going to be a tiebreaker.
Unfortunately, Taylor Mohler's team did not win the tug of war. After every team challenge, we take the team to breakfast. So we have these 2 school vans. We're gonna go to the Village Inn, and sitting right behind me is Taylor Mohler. And I look in the rearview mirror, and she is fuming, and I'm just like, doo-doo-doo. It's been a pretty good day. We're gonna go get some breakfast.
I remember we're all kind of muddy and disheveled from this whole challenge. We go into Village Inn, and like Taylor just had smoke coming out of her ears.
And I thought to myself, she's gonna blow up Village Inn. Just goes to show you, she wanted to win, and that's okay. I loved her passion. And I want to say a little message to Viola, which is her daughter, and then they had a new baby, Ivy. I know you two are little, but at some point you're gonna know that you got lucky in the parent card. Your mom's not only a Hall of Famer on the field, but she's a Hall of Famer mom. And I love you, Taylor. Hi, Taylor, congratulations. I am so excited for you and your family and able to share this special moment with you and your two girls and your husband, Alex, and your family. You're an amazing, amazing young woman, a great mother, a great wife, and obviously a great doctor. So I love how we've continued our friendship, and you'll always be in my life, and I can't maybe I will be around when your two little ones get old enough. So I love you to death, and I wish you the best, and I love you.
Taylor, it was an absolute honor to share the softball field with you, and to forge a friendship that I know will last a lifetime is a blessing. Thank you for everything you've done on and off the softball field. You've made me a better player, and you've made me a better person. I love you so much. Congratulations. This is well deserved.
Well, that one about is just like I thought it would. I did reference some of those stories in my speech, so I won't bore you with those again. And also, I think the only other time I've ever been called doctor is when UNNC hounds me for money as an alum. So the whole doctor thing makes me feel a little uncomfortable. I first want to say thank you to the Hall of Fame committee, Trish, and other volunteers who helped make this night possible. I've been to a few of these banquets, and it's always a wonderful evening, and I'm honored to be standing here representing BU and the softball program. I've also heard a few of these speeches from previous nominees, and there has always been a frequent phrase mentioned. You won't remember the wins and losses, but you will remember the times in between with your teammates and coaches. As a pitcher, I feel like you definitely remember losses more than wins. At least I do. Getting 5 runs knocked on you in the first inning my freshman year, and Coach K coming up to me saying, "You are not coming out of this game, Taylor Mohler." You just don't forget that. Or freezing your butt off playing in Northwestern while it's snowing, and after getting a bunch more runs knocked off me, Shelby Kindlin went up to the umpire and said, "I can't feel my fingers," and he called the game right there. So yeah, I definitely remember more about those games. But I definitely remember the moments in between the most. The bus and band rides, the pre-practice hangouts at the house, the dreadful theme parties, the preseason Bruin Challenge, the dugout conversations, and Kelly Fisher and I talking smack to our batters at BP. Those are what I reminisce about most, and what my teammates and I always end up talking about when we get together. We talk about the same things over and over again, and every year they get embellished a little bit more. So, I was going to mention this story that Coach K already shared with you guys. That was still a sham. We won that, hands down. I don't know if I've ever been more pissed off in my life than I was that day, and you could feel it in the rearview mirror. But we laugh about it almost every single time we see each other. So, and I had never met somebody who hated to lose as much as I did until I met Shelby Kindlin and Kelly Fisher. All three of us were pitchers, and we actually had the same pitching coach, Ron Schaaf. And he had this grand master plan to get all of us to Bellevue. I remember during the recruiting process, Bellevue was not on my radar at all, and he always kept casually mentioning it. And I decided to go on a visit, and I immediately knew I wanted to play for Coach K and Coach Kelly. That wasn't until I found out Shelby had also been recruited. I did not like Shelby, not for anything she is as a person. I didn't know anything about her. I just had this irrational notion that I hated any other pitcher that was good. And Shelby was definitely an excellent pitcher and player. Freshman year came and went. We became good friends. And then I found out the following season that Kelly Fisher would be joining the team, and I'm like, God, I really don't like her either. That was a tougher one for me because I always played Kelly in high school, in club ball, everywhere. We were in the same conference, so I saw her all the time. And again, any pitcher that was good, I was just not a fan of. Kelly likes to tell the story about how I was bossy to her during winter practice during her redshirt year because she would just skim right through our warm-ups and drills. And I was just looking out for her. I didn't want her to get in trouble with Coach Kelly, but she took it as I was being bossy, and I probably was. But I also loved competing against her because I knew the following year during her redshirt freshman season that I would have to compete against her again for pitching time because we had a pretty stacked pitching staff. That season, our relationship started when we were bunked up for an away tournament. And we bonded over how frustrated we were that our team could only score 1 or 2 runs. And we're like, man, we can't give up anything. We walk about her and we're like, shit. Fast forward through my senior year, and it was like we had the exact same brain. The hunger to win, the hatred of losing, and most of all, the genuine love and support of each other and wanting each other to succeed. All 3 of us, Kelly, Shelby, and I, we wanted that for each other, and we still do today. All of our recent alumni celebrate each other's life victories, job promotions, weddings, and now babies. And this alumni group is also so supportive through the hard times and loss. Both of my girls are very lucky to have many honorary aunts, and it's all because of Coach and BU softball. I want to thank my teammates, especially those that are here tonight, because I would not be standing up here if it weren't for them. You can look at an individual's stats, especially with pitching, and think, wow, that's a low ERA. But what's not recorded is the amazing fly ball catches that save a run, the ESPN-worthy web gems made at shortstop, or the excellent frames from your catcher. I'm honored to be recognized tonight, but I do owe much of that recognition to my teammates as well. I also want to thank Coach K and Coach Kelly for being the 2 reasons that I came to Bellevue. I'll never forget getting into my mom's car after my campus visit and saying, well, I think I made my decision, and wanting to run back inside and tell you both. Coach Kelly, thank you for molding me into the pitcher that I became and working with my strengths and weaknesses. People don't realize how hard it can be to manage each pitcher's strengths, but also their personalities. I'd like to think I was pretty low maintenance in that department, but I'll leave that for you to decide. You made being part of a pitching staff a blast, and I'm honored to have been coached by you. Coach K, if I could describe Coach K in one word, it would be loyal. No matter what, she will always have your back. On the mound, in the classroom, for a recommendation letter, to come to your wedding, to meet your kids, and to be there to support you through the toughest moments of your life. I felt that loyalty when I was a player of hers, but I still feel that so strongly as an alum today. Thank you for convincing me not to quit after my sophomore year when I felt like I wasn't meeting the BU standards. When you told me I was still going to do great things for our team, I knew you meant it. I love your passion for coaching and the genuine love you have for the game and your players. You wear your heart on your sleeve, and that's such an admirable trait. Thank you for believing in this small-town kid. Thank you to my brother and sister and my in-laws for being here tonight, and also for taking my kids home so I can go celebrate with my BU family later. Thank you to my husband, Alex, for being my biggest fan on and off the field. You continue to be my biggest cheerleader in life, no matter what phase we are in. Thank you to both of my daughters, Viola and Ivy, for being here. It's one thing to have the mental and physical toughness to be a college athlete, but it's a whole new level of toughness when you become a mom. You two are my biggest accomplishment. I can only hope to pass on some of the life lessons that I learned through softball and Bellevue to you someday. Which brings me to my biggest thank yous tonight, my parents. It wasn't until my freshman season started that I realized how lucky I was to have at least one parent at every single game of mine, no matter if I was playing or not. It didn't matter if the game was in Bellevue, some middle of nowhere town in Iowa, or in Florida. One of them was always there, and most of the time that was both. And that wasn't just in college, but during the Little League years, high school, club ball, and practices and lessons in between. My dad would pick me up after middle school basketball practice, straight from work, and go to pitching lessons in Millard, all while dressed in his slacks and nice shoes, much like he's wearing tonight. He would catch for me with his raggedy glove he still had from high school, and he'd whip it back to me if I accidentally caught his toe or his shin. But one thing I appreciate so much, and I share with young athletes and their parents, is that he would ask me all the time after pitching lessons, do you like pitching? Is this something that you still want to do? I'm sure we can all think of a young athlete or two, or maybe even past teammates that were only playing a sport because they felt that pressure from their parents, and I never felt that, and I'm so thankful. My mom was, and still is, notorious for her loud whistles and cheers from the stands. I can still hear the words, work hard, coming from the stands, and putting my hands up like, really? What do you think I'm doing out here, Mom? It's 95 degrees, I'm sweating my ass off. But my mom cheered for everyone, congratulated everyone, celebrated everyone. You both are the main reason I'm up here. This honor is not only a testament of your sacrifice, but also the love and support you have given me since the day I was born. And I'll never be able to say thank you enough. So thank you again to the Hall of Fame committee, Coach Mohler and Gloria, Trish, and all the others who make this night possible. And congratulations to all of tonight's inductees. It's an honor to be standing with you here tonight. Thank you.